last week I talked about the wholesome or virtuous factors, but I didn't have time to finish it. So I will continue the virtuous factor, and then hopefully can finish the rest of the mental factor. Last time so I kind of reorganized the categories of the virtuous factors. So I just quickly recap what we have talked about last week, that the virtuous factors start with the face. So everything, all the practice, all the practice, all the virtues start with the face. Without face, basically, our behavior is just cannot accumulate at the same goal. So faith or believing in the fact or believing in the truth is very important. Sorry. Sorry about this, because our room is very small, and so it's enclosed, no air circulation here. Anyway, believe in the truth of whatever the religion you believe in. We need to have this faith so that we can practice diligently is the next. And when we practice diligently, there are two situations will happen. One is you overcome great difficulties, and that will challenge your faith. And so people will give up or drop practice. And at that point, we have to go back to the faith and enhance our faith, and then come back to practice diligently. And the second situation that happened is good things happen. You know, you practice a lot. For example, you try to make donation and try to help people, and then you found out that, oh, my career is good and I make a lot of money and everything is so good. And then so you gradually abide, you know, like put yourself in that good condition, and so you forget to practice. Okay, that's called pramada. It's like, but at this point we have to practice a pramada, means conscientiousness, means we have to be very mindful about our body and mind conditions, and then put more concern on what we should not do and what we should do. Okay, for example, yeah, you can afford maybe $100 a meal, but do you really need that? Okay, if this is a business meal, and that's fine, but in our daily life, probably you don't need that expensive meal, and then you just need to, even though you can afford it, but you kind of like collect your mind and say like, I eat healthy food, and then avoid expend too much money. Okay, and also, you know, I have money, so I can, you know, hire a housekeeper. I can call a lot of people to help me do a lot of things. So I just sitting there without doing anything. And that's also not good, because it's not good for your health. So this pramada is the fundamental mentality for keeping precepts. Okay. So, so for all the practitioners, when you try to practice diligently, the pramada is the next that we need to be aware of and follow it. And so last week we talked about the regret to self and regret to others, and that is very important mindset because, let's see, oops. This is the mentality that we always will practice during the retreat, because every time we overcome difficulties, even in the meditation hall or in our daily life, this is the virtuous mental factors that a practitioner usually will arise, is to, repent and practice forgiveness. Okay, so when I can do better, but I didn't, so I repent. I need to examine why I didn't. Okay, so the following mental factors will help us to reflect why we cannot do better, and also regret to others why I harm people. Okay, and or also why people harm me, why people mistreat me. Usually we will blame people, but for a practitioners, we kind of reflect to ourselves why this person treat me badly. Did I say something wrong? Did I, do anything that that hurt the person? So reflect ourselves first, and then if we've found something that we can improve, then we do it. But if there is no reason, the people just don't like you, and then we practice forgive. This is also a practice of the so-called regret to self and regret to others. So repentance and forgiveness are very, very important practice for all the practitioners and also by and large for all the Buddhists. This we will see when we go to the affliction. Why is that? Okay, and I quickly went through the so-called lake of craving, lake of hatred, lake of ignorance, and these three are what we call the three virtuous roots. All the virtues, all the merits that we cultivate from this lake of craving, lake of hatred, and lake of ignorance. Let's see in more detail why is that. When we have no craving, that means no attachment to possession and no attachment to the causes of possessions. When we try to own something or try to gain something badly, that means first we believe that we actually can gain something, can own something. And based on this mentality, we will do a lot of things to make it happen. And so when we have a mental factor of no craving, that means we let go, we detach the idea of possession. And if we go back to the 12 links of dependent arising, this is the position here that related to karma on your 9 o'clock position. So this so-called positions, the karma, actually or come from the craving here. So when we have no craving, then there will be no possession. When we have craving, then there will be possessions of the karma, and that will accumulate further into our ignorance in the eighth consciousness. So that's why we call it no craving is the virtuous mental factor. And it's also the virtuous roots for all the good karma. And the so-called no hatred means no aversion to suffering and no aversion to the causes of suffering. So when we have ignorance, we have delusion to the reality or to the truth. and then we will generate affliction. And this will lead us to accumulate karma. And this karma we will have attachment, because this karma become a tendency, a habitual tendency for us to attach to certain things or to avoid to certain things. And this karma will further bring us suffering, because we like this, but this doesn't happen. We don't like this, but this happened. So we suffer. So in Sanskrit terms, sufferings is called dukkha. The original meaning of dukkha is dissatisfactions. Means I'm not satisfied with what had happened here right now. So I suffer. My mind cannot be calm and peace. And this suffering will lead us to more delusion, more affliction, and then we create more karma. It becomes a cycle, and then we cannot avoid the so-called samsaric life and death. Okay, so this is the delusion, the karma, and the suffering become a circling connections, and then we cannot just transcend. Okay, so so no hatred means we accept what had happened to us, either from our karma or from the afflictions. Okay, we accept whatever, just like maybe the weather is so cold, we accept it. We try our best to keep us warm, but the bad weather won't cause us suffering. The same thing, relationships with people is bad. Okay, we accept it, it's bad. Something wrong in the past. I'll try to fix it, but not right away. I will make progress. So don't give us ourselves more suffering based on the unsatisfied situations. And that is a very, very important virtuous root. No hatred, no aversion to suffering, and no aversion to the causes of suffering. And the most fundamental one is no ignorance. This is, very hard. This is for enlightened ones. Is realization of all phenomena and realization of all principles. Oftentimes, phenomena, things happen, and we don't understand why this is happening and why this has happened. And then we don't know what will happen next. And then so we don't understand this phenomena. We don't understand why this phenomena is happening. So we be confused about the phenomena and principles. And that's our fundamental ignorance based on our misunderstanding to the phenomena and to the principle. And then we will make the wrong decision, make the wrong judgment, and then commit wrong actions or reactions toward that phenomena. And then so we have hatred, we have craving, and we created more karma. And then we have more affliction, and we are ignored, we are deluded even deeper. Okay, so without ignorance, or when we cease or cut off ignorance, the rest of the affliction will cease. Okay, so these three are called the three virtuous rules that we need to pay attention, be aware of, be mindful, and focus on. Okay. Now, so how to overcome the delusion? We practice no ignorance. How we overcome the lessen the karma, we practice no craving. And how we lessen the suffering is no aversion. Okay, so these are the three virtuous rules for all the practice. And then when we go deeper, these virtuous mental factors are more subtle. Okay, it's called light at ease or tranquility. Is conditions that our body and mind in a more subtle way, in a more subtle peace and calmness, in calm. And at this moment, when we perform our body and speech, then it will what is that? So it will behave according to the wholesome mindset. Okay. Usually, if we watch ourselves, when we get angry, the body and mind is intense, and so at this moment we easily harm people or harm ourselves. So only when our mind and body is at light and ease, then that we can we can perform our body and mind in more peaceful and calmly way. And at that time, we have deeper contemplation or deeper observation on the phenomena and the principles. Okay, and then how about the renunciation of violation? We talk about the violation, especially for the eighth consciousness, is very active. We just cannot stop it, but we can let go of it. So when a practitioner practice deeper, and we need to at some point practice renunciation of violation, and including let go of the method. Okay, in order to attain more deeper samadhi. Okay, so at that with this mindset, we can call it like equanimity. At this point, no attachment, no discrimination. Okay, so the number 9 is a very important mindset to practice contemplation. And the 10th mindset is very important to practice samadhi. So these two go together, are very important to practice for the so-called samatha vipassana. And the number 11, for me, you can check in the website that there are different kinds of explanation for the no harming. But for me, it's very difficult. Is at any time, any moment, not even our mind does not generate the so-called harming thought, harming behavior, harming speech, and also that the sentient beings really do not be harmed by us. So oftentimes we think we behave well, we are compassionate, I mean good, but when I react with my body, speech, and mind, people get hurt, and then you confuse, like, why you are hurting, why you feel bad, why you are upset. I mean good, I trying to help you, but the problem is we don't have enough wisdom to see what people really need, and then perform the right body, speech, and mind reaction to them. And we just like, I'm compassionate, I try to help you, but you get hurt. Okay, so no harm is a very profound virtue for practitioners. And so when I study Buddha's virtues, 18 uncommon virtues, and no harm, no mistake, for the body, speech, and mind are 3 of them. Okay, so when we have when we practice deeper and deeper and deeper, when we get enough samadhi and wisdom, then gradually we will be no harming. We will be no harm to ourselves and to other people. Okay, now right now we will talk about the violation because the affliction here. We will move on to the D and E, the fundamental affliction and secondary affliction. And here I have to talk about the violation of the 7th and 6th and 7th consciousness. And if you remember that we talk about the 5 dominant present mental factors, there is a co-violations that is the key to accumulate karma. And also that is the key to initiate wholesome or unwholesome, virtuous or unwholesome mental factors. Let's try to get an idea about the 26 affliction here. So usually there are the 6 fundamental affliction. And based on this 6 fundamental affliction, we generate the secondary affliction, which further divided to 3 categories. One is called large scale. What it means is it happened everywhere, including the first 5 consciousness, the 6th consciousness, and 7th consciousness. All this 7th consciousness will arise, will initiate this large scale afflictions. And there is a median scale affliction that only happened to the first 5 consciousness and the 6th consciousness. And the so-called small scale consciousness is only happened to the 6th consciousness. And also from the name, we will see that a small scale vexations, afflictions that come very often, but in a very short time, relatively. And the medium scale, it lasts longer, and the large scale lasts even longer. Okay, so now the 6 fundamental afflictions, including this. I need to know the time. Okay. The so-called the greed, anger, ignorance, craving, aversion, and ignorance. These 3 are the opposite of the 3 virtuous roots, and so it's called the 3 unwholesome roots. So I will not I will not repeat it again because the craving, the anger, and ignorance just keep us cycling, accumulate more karma and ignorance. And that I talked about it earlier. But the 4th one is called arrogance and pride. This arrogance is very subtle, and from the name mana, you were related to the 7th consciousness. It's mana consciousness, because the 7th consciousness, the only job is that I think this is me, and then so this is a fundamental arrogance for all of us, is the idea of me, the I. And then so you can check it. The arrogance has different levels and different types of arrogance. Oftentimes we will think that, oh, because I'm rich and I'm in the upper social status, so I am so proud I'm better than everybody. But even I am in the I'm the same with you, you are the same with me, I can still generate pride, thinking that, okay, you are not better than me, or I'm better than you, even though we are kind of equal status, okay? This is also another kind of arrogance. And the worst kind of arrogance is that people are better than you, and then you think that I am just like you, you are just like me, or you are lower than me. This kind of arrogance is really bad, okay? So we can observe ourselves, watch ourselves, you know. We have different types of arrogance all the time. Because we try to compare so that we can have a very strong, safe idea about I exist and I am good, I'm strong. Okay, so for all the practitioners, these are the very very important afflictions to overcome if we want to practice the so-called the undiscriminated mind. Once we discriminate, we have up and down. I am up, you are down. Okay, the mind of up and down is a difficulty or the obstacles for all of us to let go of the attachment, especially for the seventh consciousness. Okay, and the next one is called doubt. Okay, let go of belief. Okay, usually, especially when we practice religions, that's a problem. That's a very, very fundamental problem. Is you generate doubt in the religions. For example, I practice, I do all the things that Sutra tells me to do. Why all the bad things happen to me? Okay, or if you're a Christian, you're questioning, you know, God planned everything for us. Why the God planned this for us? Why the pandemic is happening? Why good people are dying? You know, people lost job. People have no home to stay. The kids have problem, all kinds of problem in our society. Why God planned this for us? Okay, if you cannot find a good meaning for that, you start to question in this religion. Okay, so this doubt, lack of belief, lack of faith is also is a very fundamental affliction to all of us. And this number 6 is erroneous view. This erroneous view, including right view for all the principles for all the religions. We all have the fundamental doctrine to follow, right? And then you practice, and you misunderstand what the doctrines or the Bible says, and then you start to generate a view that's similar, sounds like the original doctrine, but it's not. Okay, so some people will. So this happen all the time. So that's why in this world we have all kinds of not so-called orthodox religion, and there are all kinds of strange religions or belief or practice that happened because there are like they are based on the erroneous views, compared to the orthodox views, and also the erroneous views, including the view about the self, how to keep the precepts. You can Google it to see what the erroneous views are about. I will skip it here because I need to finish all the affliction today. Okay, and okay, here is the summary. So the fundamental affliction, there are 6. So you will see for the craving, anger, and ignorance, it covers the first 5 consciousness, the 7th and 7th, the 6th and 7th, but the 7th consciousness has no anger. Okay, it basically just attached to the idea that this is me, this is me. Okay, and then the first 5 consciousness are about the eye, ears, nose, tongue, and body. Only have the craving, anger, ignorance, but no arrogance and doubt and wrong views. Okay, and you will see the 6th consciousness has everything. Okay, the 7th has no doubt about what it attached to. Okay, so it's very, very hard to break the arrogance of the 7th that very groundedly attached that this is I, this is I. So based on these 6 fundamental afflictions, we will generate the secondary afflictions that we will talk about here. Okay, we talk about a small scale first. Okay, it only happened to the 6th consciousness, and it comes very fast, and it will not last long. See, if we get angry, we angry, but angry wastes our energy. So we can angry, but this emotion of angry will not last long. Or, even when you fall asleep, it's gone. Okay, when you eating chocolate, when you have a party with people, you forgot to angry. You might keep your angry in mind, but this angry will not with you every time. Okay, everywhere. So it's on and off. Okay, so the first one. Okay, I put this 5 together because it always happen sequentially. Usually when things happen, the people get you, you get anger, okay, because of the phenomena, because the things, because of the people. Emotionally, you are angry. But sometimes, like, oh, these people in the subway, it gets too close to me, so I'm kind of like annoyed, and then when you get off the subway, it's gone. Okay, but if we keep this anger, then deeper it will become hatred, and you found out that why it's like Black people of color always in the subway, like intentionally get close to me, try to touch me, and then you start to make a judgment like these Black people is bad, and then you generate hatred in your mind. And then later, when you get onto the subway, you will automatically avoid the Black people because you think that they will harm you. And then you keep this hatred in mind. And one day, there is a Black people that, just like something happened. And then so maybe there is a coffee in his hand because something happened, so pour on your body. Then you got irritated. If this is your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend that accidentally pour the coffee on you, then you just anger, or just like, okay, and then maybe 1 minute's gone. But now, because you have anger, you have hatred on that scenario for a long time. So when this happened, you got irritated. Your mind will generate like, but depends on your practice. Okay, you might just like bodily do something to that person, or you just shout out loud, you know, like, get away from me or something. And then this is irritating. And then the harm is like, okay, if you really bodily and spiritually harm that people, then you go to the fourth level. It really harm that people. Okay, so oftentimes when we look at the, you know, watch the movie or the real crime in our daily life, usually things won't things like happen just like accidentally anger and then there is a crime. It's very rare. Okay, usually there are something that the anger accumulate to become the hatred. The hatred become a irritation or maliciousness that in mind for a long time. And then so you start to plan, or you start to imagine that, you know, if this happened again, I'm going to do something. And when that day comes, then you really cause the harm to that person. So it's usually these four steps. So for a practitioner, yeah, we can get angry because, you know, our mind cannot, the awareness is not that fast. But at least we have to practice the anger, let go. Don't let it accumulate, become a hatred or irritation, or don't keep that things that you plan to harm people. Okay, and the fifth one I put it here is once we harm people, even it's a very small action. Okay, so usually maybe in the office, in your jobs, in your workplace, sometimes we people angry at us, but we didn't know because all these are in their mind. And the way people harm people has many different ways. The more extreme way is they pull out a gun and shoot you. But, you know, sometimes they do something to mistreat you. So you get very angry. But that people will try to cover up the way they set you up, the way they mistreat you, or they discriminate you. Okay, so this is another affliction, secondary affliction that they try to cover up, concealment, you know, slyness, concealment. Okay, these five are not we so-called the secondary affliction from the previous, the so-called the hatred, the craving, and ignorance and arrogance. Something like that, the first six. Okay, so these are very important for us to be aware of, that once we have this kind of mental factors arise, we have to stop it. And another set is called, another five I put together is first stinginess, and the second is jealousy. Okay, this too sometimes is like you have a lot of things that you don't want to share. You can help people, but you don't want, because this is my money. I spend a lot of time to work to make money. You know, I don't want to share my food. I don't want to share my clothes, my money with people. This is called like stinginess, and even like you are very stingy to your family members. You know, this is a very very subtle, not subtle. It's very dramatic affliction for that people. If we, because once you have a lot of money, you are wealthy enough, and people will try to get help from you. But you have to protect your belongings all the time, and then so your mindset will be in a state status of like always need to be watched and not giving. Okay, and so this is the next one is you don't have what people have. And you try to get more, but you cannot get it. So you jealousy, okay? So there is one has less, there's one has more. When the one has more is stingy, usually the other one has less will generate jealousy. But if the person has more, will share what they have with people has less, then usually they won't jealousy. Usually, most of the time, because the things are shared. But where the jealousy happen is they don't like you, and I don't like that person, and that person looks beautiful than me, has more money than me, has higher class than me, has everything better than me. So I jealousy, I want that, but I can't. Okay. And this is a very, very dangerous mindset. If you read the history, a lot of bad things happen is due to the jealousy between people. Okay, there are dramatic differences between the situation of the two people, two country. Then the jealousy happen, then bad things happen. Okay. The next one is called deceit or pretense. Means like, I try to earn respect. For example, I try to earn respect from the people. I will boast saying that, do you know that I have been meditate for 20 years, 30 years, I can sit for a whole day without moving, and make you think that I'm a good practitioner. I can be your teacher. This is kind of deceit. Or, you try to pretend you are rich. You try to get along with rich people. Actually, you cannot afford expensive clothes, expensive handbag, expensive car, but because you want to get along, be with those rich people, so you just borrow money to buy the car, to buy the clothes and handbag and jewelry, and go to the party and try to boost that how rich you are. This is also really bad. And the next one is called the flattering. Flattering is that based on your own benefit. You try to get benefit from people. And one way is you deceit. The other is you flatter, in a way that, you overpraise people. You say, you try to make people feel good about you. This happen all the time in our workplace, that usually the worker or try to flatter their boss so that they can get promotion or they can get a raise in the salary, or kind of that. And the last one is called I don't know if that's a good translation, is haughtiness or self-infatuation. Means if your deceit work, if your flattery work, that make you feel like, I am somebody. I can manipulate everything. I have the ability. I have the connection. I have all kinds of resource. I can make what I want happen. This mindset also very good. So these 5 I put together. These are called the secondary small scale. Okay, it's really bad enough, but still small scale, because only the six consciousness will generate this kind of affliction. And it, like I said in the beginning, it won't last long. You know, it's on and off, on and off. Okay. Now we'll talk about the median scale that happened to the first 5 and 6 consciousness. Okay. Lack of shame, lack of conscience, lack of the second one, lack of shameless disregard, means like, you know, I can do better, but I didn't. But it, you know, it's okay. I shouldn't harm you, but I did. But that's okay, you know, because that's your karma. So I harmed you because that's your karma. So, you know, I don't want to give money to you. I don't want to help you. It's because your karma, not because of me. Okay. It's typically lack of shame and lack of propriety. Okay. So these are the so-called median scale, is because it happened all the time, you know, especially if you are a boss, if you are a teacher, when a disciple or your subsequent workers try to point out something is wrong, and you make the wrong decision, you say something wrong, usually we will deny it. Okay, just like, you know, it's the same thing for monastic. Okay, Guo Xing Fashi once, okay, Guo Xing Fashi, he is very senior, a senior monk in our sangha. So when I remember one day that we have a pilgrimage trip to China one time, and then so he, because of it's cold, so he put his hand in his in the jacket, the pocket of the jacket. And this is not, we cannot do that as a monastic, because this is a minor precept that we need to keep. So I remember there is a senior nun go talk to Guo Xing Fashi, say, you can take out your hands. This is not, you didn't follow monastic etiquette here. So Guo Xing Fashi just shared that he automatically take the hands out and said, I didn't. So this is a very spontaneous response. I didn't. Okay, but he is aware of this response, so he kind of share with us that, you know, he has done wrong, and then he tried to defend himself. Okay, that he generate the mindset of it's general mindset of shamefulness. Okay, but here is with lack of shamefulness, and that's a problem. That if we have this mindset, we will not have the mentality to improve, okay, and to repent or to forgive. Okay. Now the large scale one. Okay, I put all of them together because it's covered to the 1st to the 7th consciousness. This large scale affliction are more subtle, more not significant, okay, not easy to observe, because angry is very crude and significant emotion that we will easily be aware of, but lack of faith, you know, nothing happened, then you don't know, you don't have enough faith. Okay. Laziness. Okay. What is lazy? Okay. This is a very subjective. Okay. I think you are lazy, but you don't think you are. Okay. You can work harder, but I think it's enough. I need rest. Okay, so laziness, especially for practitioners, if we have the laziness mindset, then you investigate Huatou, you cannot push even deeper. Okay, your silent elimination just become you become a deadlock, sitting there because you're lazy. And it go even further. Not just lazy, you are hedonist. That means you sit there very good, and you sit well. Your mind, body is so comfortable there, but actually you unconsciously get into the stage of pramada, that your awareness is not up, and you just reside in the peace, and you kind of like let your mind and bodies rest there, and that's called hedonist. And also there is go deeper, the fogginess, the mental fogginess and restfulness come to is a pair that especially when during the retreat, if you are not with your method, usually you significantly you fall asleep, or otherwise you think of something you cannot let go. Okay, so we know that we fall asleep, or sometimes you are with the method, but the method is not clear. It's also the mental fogginess. Okay, so you need to pour up more energy, so make everything, including your methods, very clear. And how about restfulness? It's different from the last two. The next two, scatteredness. It's like some people, if you are artists, you get idea, you suddenly get ignited with some fantastic idea. If you are a writer, you get idea, and then you try to write a novel or paint something in your mind, and you cannot stop it. That's called restlessness. Or you think of your wife and just keep thinking about it, his job, his something, relationship with her, and then you actually focus on something and keep thinking about it, and you cannot let go. That's called restlessness. And the next two is you lost mindfulness and awareness, and the other is distraction, scatteredness. That happens a lot. You might just scatter, randomly think of something here and there. And the lost mindfulness and awareness is that, for example, in the retreat, you are practicing counting the breath. So counting the breath is your right thought, and all other thought are not the right thought. So if you are not with your method, you lost mindfulness and awareness with the right thought, which is your method, counting the breath. Okay. And also, at any time in the daily life, I should be mindful at the present moment with what I'm doing right now, or I'm planning right now. But I'm doing, and then I suddenly thought about something, or suddenly I think of someone, I get angry, then you lost your mindfulness. Okay, so this kind of distraction is different from the distraction, the scatteredness distraction is you lost mindfulness about your current moment. Okay, and the last one is called lack of right understanding. Oftentimes, even for us, we talk about the Buddha Dharma, and you don't have the right understanding of the causes and condition and consequences, then you will interpret what happened to you in the wrong way. Okay. For example, you are a good person. You have done a lot of good things, but bad things happen to you. So how we should explain this? And people say, oh, because, yeah, of course you can say you have done something wrong before. So that's why today, even you have done a lot of good things, bad things still happen to you because the bad karma, happen. And this is a good way to explain it. But the problem is if we have the real understanding of causes, conditions, and consequence, especially in Yogacara. Yogacara only believes in the present moment. Even the seed planted in the past has changed every time. They change. You only have current seeds, even though it's the same property from the past, but the seeds, you only have it at the present moment. So the right way to explain the causes and conditions and consequences is more focused on the conditions right now and how you can use what had happened right now as the cause, and then you accumulate good conditions to make a good consequence in the future. Okay, that's a right mentality. And just don't try to use the principle of causes and condition and consequence to blame people and to, you know, annoy people. Okay, so these are the secondary affliction. This page show the largest scale one. And so, all right, this is, the time is up. For the 3 types of secondary afflictions, here for the larger scale, why we have a larger scale secondary affliction followed after the fundamental affliction is because we have defiled mind. The so-called defiled mind is that we don't know about the true mind. So the mind is defiled, is not pure. So we will automatically have the largest scale secondary afflictions. And for the medium scale and small scale, it oftentimes comes with unwholesome mind. Means that we hate, we crave, or we are ignorant, or we are arrogant. You know, we have doubt, or we don't have the right view. You know, the unwholesome mind that we want to hurt people. And then the medium scale and small scale secondary affliction will automatically come. Okay. The last 4, I'll quickly finish this, is called unfixed factors that only happen to the 6 consciousness as well. So it's called unfixed is because depends on the scenario. These 4 mental factors can be good and can be not good, bad. Okay, the so-called regret. If we regret what we have done wrong, that's good. That's called you repent, and then you will improve yourself. But if it's in the meditation hall, and then you are drowsy in the last session, and this session you see, I shouldn't be drowsy last session. You regret, you know, you didn't practice harder in the last session. Then this regret is bad because you lost your current section as well. And then the other one is called sleep. Sleep is good because everyone needs sleep to get energized. But if you sleep in the meditation hall, you get drowsiness in your workplace, and that's not good, okay? And the last 2 is first, strong intention to investigate. And the last one is subtle intention to discern, okay? If you have a question, somebody treat you bad, and you don't know why, and you want the answer. You know, why treat me so bad? This is a strong intention to investigate. But later on, it become a subtle one, you know, over the years. And then even though you let go of the strong emotion of anger, but still in your mind, you know, why he doesn't like me, you know, why he treat me bad, become more subtle. And then every time, even 10 years, you change job, you go to different company, when you see that person, you still have this subtle kind of, you know, intention to know why. 10 years ago that, you know, I spent so much time finish the mind project, and then why he treat me so badly, you know, it becomes subtle intention. And in the practice, in the meditation hall, when we investigate Huatou, you know, in the beginning is strong intention. I want to know, and then later on it become more subtle way. What is Wu? You don't even need to have this word, what is Wu? And you are still looking for the answer. Okay, so that's the difference. One is more strong intention, the other is subtle intention, but the intention is still there. And so it depends on how you use it. It can be good and can be bad. So it's unfixed mental factors. Okay, I have to finish it. Okay, the first, we talk about the 5 omnipresent mental factors, and there's object-determined mental factors here. And then especially from the volition to the desire to the object-determined mental factors, it will co-arise. Depends on the scenario, depends on the object. You will generate wholesome factor or, you know, affliction mental factors, and depends on our karma, depends on our practice, and depends on how we operate our mind. So here, the last figure is, okay, so I color the ice underneath the water to different color. So we have the first 5 consciousness, we have 6 consciousness, 7th and 8th, and around this consciousness are all the mental factors that support the iceberg above the water. So we talk about mind level, and we will talk about form Dharma in the next talk. Okay, so here, especially the 6th consciousness has major all the mental factors here. So it has largest space. Okay, and then so I'll finish here. Basically, I finish the so-called mind, the king of mind and mental factors, some about the mind topics. The next, we'll talk about form and talk about the pseudo dharma and then the supermundane dharma. Okay, so I'll finish here. Thank you for your attention. Got a clock.
Thank you, Fashi. Do we have time for a question?
Maybe one, if there's.
So, yeah, if someone has a question, please unmute yourself and just ask it. And I don't see anybody raise their hands currently.
Okay. Then we will. I'll spend 1 minute. So if you're interested in the repentance, the following week from Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock, we will have online chanting repentance together, but it's in Chinese. All right. There's one.
So there's someone.
Oh, right.
Okay, yeah. I know this is just someone said thank you, Fashi. Yeah. Good. So I guess we can end the talk today.
Sorry. Is there still time for a question?
Sorry, you have a question? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Actually, my question is on this diagram, right? You have the Dharma, with dotted lines. So are you going to talk about that, or what does that mean, right? It seems like different from others. You can see from the Dharma above the water, and then 6th consciousness, and then dotted line to the 8th consciousness, right, on that Dharma path. Is that something special about it?
Yes. Well, I just the horizontal line is that I try to use that to divide the space to show you the mental factors that related to that specific consciousness. You just want to show you that 6th consciousness has all the mental factors, the largest space here, and the 7th just attached to, actually the eighth is the smallest, only attached to the 5 pervasive, the omnipresent mental factors here. Just like the dot is trying to tell you the how many mental factors that this consciousness related to. How many? Is that your question?
Yeah, I think my question is specifically to that, maybe started from the 8th consciousness. You see there is a Dharma circled there in the 8th consciousness. And then there's a Dharma above the water, right? So so I'm trying to understand why only this Dharma show up in the 8th consciousness and not others, right?
Okay.
So,
well, I will explain that in the form Dharma, because this Dharma above the water, actually how this Dharma exists actually is originally from the seeds in the 8th consciousness and through the 7 and 6 consciousness to make this Dharma manifest. This is there is a complicated mechanism there, but I will put this in the form Dharma to explain it.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that was my question.
Next week.